Breaking right now, the world is panicking big time. Iran strikes Qatar's Ras Laffan, world's largest LNG plant burning in flames. Massive fires, chaos, global gas prices exploding, your fuel bill about to double. If you are watching this, you are witnessing history unfold in real time. Right now, in the Persian Gulf, at the heart of the global energy system, something unprecedented is happening. The Ras Laffan industrial city, the single largest liquefied natural gas export facility on planet Earth, is under attack. Flames are rising hundreds of feet into the night sky. Emergency sirens are screaming across the Qatari coastline. Thousands of workers are being evacuated. And in trading floors from London to Tokyo, algorithms are triggering sell-offs faster than humans can react. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a developing crisis that could change the price of everything you buy, the stability of every market you invest in, and the security of every nation that depends on affordable energy. Welcome to Power Clash Report. We are interrupting our scheduled coverage because what is happening right now demands your immediate attention. We are moving beyond the viral footage and the sensational headlines to examine what actually happened at Ras Laffan, what the strategic stakes really are, and what crisis forever could mean for you, for your family, and for the global order. Stay with me. Do not click away, because what you learn in the next few minutes could help you understand and prepare for what comes next. Let us begin with the facts, because in a moment of panic, facts are your anchor. Ras Laffan is not just another industrial facility. It is the crown jewel of global energy infrastructure. Located on the northeast coast of Qatar, it processes and exports more liquefied natural gas than any other site in the world. Approximately 40% of global LNG trade flows through Ras Laffan's terminals. It supplies gas to Europe, Asia, and beyond, powering homes, fueling industries, and generating electricity for hundreds of millions of people. An attack on this facility, therefore, is not just a regional security incident. It is a strike at the nervous system of the global economy. On March 22, 2026, multiple regional and international sources reported explosions and fires at the Ras Laffan complex. Footage circulating on social media shows thick black smoke rising from processing units, emergency vessels converging on the scene, and what appear to be evacuation procedures underway. Qatari authorities have confirmed a security incident at the facility and activated emergency response protocols. However, as of this recording, there is no definitive on-the-record confirmation that Iran conducted this attack, nor has any official Iranian source claimed responsibility. This distinction is critical. In the fog of conflict, attribution is everything. Acting on unverified claims can trigger real-world consequences that cannot be undone. Now let us examine the claim that Iran is behind this strike. The logic is understandable. Iran and Qatar share the North Field Chalk South Pars gas reservoir, the world's largest natural gas field. The two nations have historically maintained pragmatic relations despite broader regional tensions. However, in the context of escalating conflict between Iran and U.S.-aligned powers, Qatar's strategic partnership with Washington and its hosting of major U.S. military assets could make it a target for Iranian retaliation. Iran possesses the asymmetric capabilities to threaten Gulf energy infrastructure. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, naval mines, drone swarms, and proxy networks. If Tehran chose to strike Ras Laffan, it would signal a profound escalation, a willingness to target the economic lifeline of a neighbor and, by extension, the global energy market itself. But capability is not the same as intent, and intent is not the same as action. Without verified attribution, we must treat this claim with caution. This is not skepticism for its own sake. It is responsible analysis in a high-stakes environment where misinformation can trigger panic, market manipulation, or even military miscalculation. Let us talk about the economic stakes, because this is where the impact becomes personal. Immediately. Natural gas is not just a commodity. It is a cornerstone of modern life. It heats homes, powers factories, generates electricity, and serves as a feedstock for fertilizers, plastics, and countless other products. If Ras Laffan's operations are significantly disrupted, even temporarily, the effects ripple outward instantly. Global LNG prices could double or triple within hours. For consumers, this means higher electricity bills, increased heating costs, and broader inflationary pressure. For businesses, it means higher operational expenses, squeezed margins, and potential layoffs. For developing nations that rely on affordable energy imports, the risk is not just inflation, but social unrest. This is how an attack on a single facility in Qatar can affect your wallet, your job, and your community thousands of miles away. Now, let us address the phrase crisis forever. This is a dramatic framing that requires careful examination. From a strategic perspective, a sustained disruption of Ras Laffan would indeed have severe and lasting consequences. Analysts project that a significant supply shock could push global gas prices to unprecedented levels, triggering inflationary spikes, market volatility, and potential recessionary pressures in energy importing nations. Supply chains that depend on just-in-time delivery could seize up. Central banks might face impossible choices between fighting inflation and supporting growth. However, forever is a strong word. History shows that even severe energy crises eventually resolve through diplomacy, market adaptation, technological substitution, or the restoration of supply. The question is not whether the crisis will last forever, but how long it will last, and how much pain it will cause in the meantime. Let us examine the human dimension. Behind every headline about explosions and evacuations are real people. The workers at Ras Laffan are facing immediate danger. The families waiting for news, the communities dependent on the facility for employment. These are not abstract statistics. They are individuals whose lives have been upended by violence. In moments like these, it is essential to remember that geopolitical analysis is not an abstract exercise. It is about understanding the forces that shape human suffering and security. At Power Clash Report, we commit to covering the strategy without losing sight of the stakes. We will verify before we amplify, and we will humanize before we politicize. There is also the information warfare dimension. In the digital age, the first narrative to spread often becomes the dominant one, regardless of accuracy. The claim that Iran has struck Ras Laffan may serve multiple purposes for different actors. For hardliners in Tehran, it could justify further escalation and rally domestic support. For partisan media elsewhere, it could fuel anti-Iranian sentiment or, conversely, cheerleading for maximum pressure. For malicious actors, it could be an opportunity to sow discord, manipulate markets, or test information resilience. As consumers of information, our responsibility is to seek verification, consult credible sources, and resist the urge to share unconfirmed reports. This is not about censorship. It is about clarity. We will update this coverage as verified information emerges. Let us consider the regional implications. The Gulf Arab states are deeply interconnected through energy infrastructure, security partnerships, and diplomatic channels. An attack on Qatari soil could prompt a unified response from the Gulf Cooperation Council, potentially including collective military measures or economic sanctions against the perceived perpetrator. However, it could also expose divisions. Some states may prefer diplomatic de-escalation, while others may advocate for a harder line. Qatar itself has walked a careful diplomatic path, maintaining relations with both Iran and Western powers. An attack on its critical infrastructure could force Doha to reconsider this balancing act, with profound consequences for regional diplomacy. What about the global response? Major powers like the United States, China, and the European Union have significant stakes in Gulf energy security. The U.S. has security commitments to Qatar and hosts a major airbase at Al Udeid. China is a major importer of Qatari LNG and has signed long-term supply agreements. Europe, still recovering from previous energy shocks, depends on stable LNG flows to power its economies. The international community would likely urge restraint, but without consensus on attribution or response, diplomatic efforts may struggle to gain traction. Now, let us address the military dimension. If Iran did conduct this attack, what capabilities might it have employed? Iran possesses a diverse arsenal of precision-guided missiles, including the Khalij Fars anti-ship ballistic missile and the Sumar cruise missile, both of which have ranges sufficient to reach Qatar from Iranian territory. Iran has also developed sophisticated drone systems, like the Shahed 136, which can be launched in swarms to overwhelm defenses. However, striking a heavily protected facility like Ras Laffan would require precise intelligence, advanced munitions, and the ability to penetrate layered air defense systems. This raises questions about attribution. Who has the capability and motive to conduct such an operation? Potential actors include state adversaries with advanced military capabilities, non-state actors with asymmetric tools, or even internal saboteurs with insider access. Without verified forensic evidence, signal intercepts, or credible claims of responsibility, we cannot definitively attribute the cause. This uncertainty is itself a weapon in modern conflict. Let us consider the environmental dimension. LNG facilities handle highly flammable materials under extreme pressure and cryogenic temperatures. A major fire or explosion can release toxic chemicals, greenhouse gases, and particulate matter into the atmosphere. In a confined region like the Persian Gulf, environmental damage can have cross-border effects, affecting air quality, marine ecosystems, and public health. Moreover, the cleanup and repair of damaged infrastructure can take months or years, prolonging economic disruption. This is an often overlooked consequence of attacks on energy infrastructure, the environmental cost that lingers long after the headlines fade. So what happens next? There are several possible scenarios. In the most contained cases, investigations conclude the incident was caused by an internal accident, sabotage by non-state actors, or a limited strike that does not significantly disrupt output, and the crisis de-escalates through diplomatic channels. In a more escalatory scenario, Qatar or its allies attribute the attack to Iran and launch counterstrikes, triggering a cycle of action and reaction that expands the conflict. In a diplomatic scenario, third-party mediators, perhaps Oman, Kuwait, or the UN, intervene to de-escalate, using this incident as a catalyst for renewed dialogue. The outcome depends on intelligence assessments, political calculations, and the fragile mechanisms of crisis communication. What can you do as an informed citizen? First, stay informed through credible sources. Follow official statements from governments, international organizations, and reputable news agencies. Be skeptical of viral claims that lack verification. Second, understand the broader context. This is not an isolated event. It is part of a complex, multi-layered conflict with deep historical roots and global ramifications. Third, engage constructively. Share verified information. Support humanitarian efforts for those affected by violence. Advocate for policies that prioritize diplomacy and civilian protection. At Power Clash Report, we believe that knowledge is power. Understanding geopolitical events helps us make better decisions, protect our families, and contribute to a more stable world. Before we conclude, let us recap the key points. An incident involving explosions and fires has occurred at the Ras Laffan LNG facility in Qatar, the world's largest gas export terminal. Qatari authorities have confirmed a security incident, but have not publicly attributed responsibility. Speculation about Iranian involvement is widespread but unconfirmed by official sources. The strategic logic of targeting critical energy infrastructure is to degrade economic capacity, but the risks include global market shocks, severe retaliation, and wider conflict. The human, economic, and environmental stakes are substantial, affecting workers, consumers, ecosystems, and global stability. The path forward depends on verification, restraint, and responsible communication from all parties. The choice before the world's leaders is stark. They can allow fear and speculation to drive policy, risking a spiral of escalation, or they can rely on intelligence, verification, and strategic patience to manage crises without surrendering to panic. History will judge this moment not by the weapons fired, but by the wisdom with which they are answered. As citizens of an interconnected world, we have both the right and the responsibility to demand clarity over chaos, evidence over emotion, and truth over virality. If this analysis provided value, please like this video, subscribe to Power Clash Report, and share it with someone who needs to understand these developments. Turn on notifications so you do not miss our updates as this story evolves. In the description below, you will find links to official sources, energy market data, and further reading on this developing situation. We are committed to bringing you signal in a world of noise. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe. And remember, in a world of increasing uncertainty, clarity is the most valuable asset we have.